Gotta be fucking kidding.
Here's the first movie.
Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Peel that pig and slice him thick.
The body count is always bigger.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
The fucking trees walked in those movies.
Hi, doggy.
What a story, Mark.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled.
It's just like your opinion, man.
Life moves pretty fast.
If you want your sequel to become a franchise.
37 dicks.
In a row?
I'm your number one fan.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Marathon Me with your hosts Rhys
And Kane.
and welcome to our ranking and overview episode for the Hostel franchise, a trilogy of torture porn, but it feels like more than this, I think. I went into it looking for some pretty mindless, gratuitous exploitation, and it turned out to be an exploration of exploitation. And there definitely is some substance here, but there's definitely an argument to be made if there is more style over substance or more substance over style. But
Agreed.
But Kane, what did you overall think of marathoning this trilogy?
I thought this was a great marathoning experience, honestly. Like, you know, despite our disdain towards the third film, I will say that, like, you know, these films flow quite well together in terms of, especially the first two movies. You know, it's the same general concept, you know, that is elaborated and like expanded upon as the series goes on. I mean, we do get a bit of expansion with part 3, but you know, too little of an effect. But it's still there. Like, it definitely, it didn't feel like It didn't feel like a lot of like whiplash when it came to like, you know, watching different subsequent entries and like, oh, different set of characters, different kind of storylines and all that. We still kind of get the same general main pieces in these movies. You know, the elite hunting club, the torture, the blah 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 blah. They're like you know, the fact that there's actual commentary and themes in these, you know, torture porn horror movies. Like, it's been a very rewarding watch, honestly. You know, first two mainly, and not the third one. But yeah, it's been a very rewarding watch, I feel.
I totally agree. It feels like that this was a franchise that really felt like there was vision behind the conception of it all, right? You really feel like that there is something that is trying to be done instead of just putting some funny images on the screen and making you uncomfortable. There was more to it than that. And you said something just there that actually made me quite sad, realizing that you were 100% correct, is how well the first and second movie flow into one another. And it made me think for a moment of how the potential for a possible third film directed by Eli Roth, continuing with the vision and image of this franchise, and how it could have been something so great. Could have been something so interesting, opening up the world to all these different sort of sects of the elite hunting club, going international almost. Could have been something really potent.
We could have gotten an Australian branch, man.
Exactly. And like, because this franchise overall, like, with its overt hyper objectification of women sexually or just humans biologically, it also explores parts of like the class divide, as well as like what people are willing to do for pleasure and things like that. It is. Yeah, there's a lot of meat on these bones to pick at. And
wholeheartedly agree.
And I think without further ado, Kane, would you like to give us your ranking of the Hostel trilogy?
I would love to, and it's going to come as no surprise that the worst one is Hostel Part 3. And I know, it's such a hot take, really, honestly, but, you know, I have to come out and say it, alright? I can't keep it buried any longer, man. But yeah, Hostel Part 3, it's the worst. It's just bad. It's the worst. It's bad and boring, like, and I really don't want to give it, I mean, I feel like I don't want to, nor do I feel like I need to give any justification as to why this is last place. Like, you know it. the audience knows it. I'm sure they've heard our previous episode as to why I have a disdain towards, Part 3, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. Hostel Part 3 fucking sucks, bro. You can go die. Go stay in Vegas. Honestly, man, fucking hell. Yeah, harsh words, but I just had to call it like I see it, Anyways, enough of that negativity, alright? Now, second place by a wide margin. Like this is where, we're getting into the good stuff now. And honestly, it was actually kind of close because I really do like both of these movies. I think both of them are great. And
you're talking about Hostel 1 and 2, right? Not the third one. And
No, not 3.
Okay.
No, number 3, that's just gone from my mind now. But yeah, no, 1 and 2, interchangeable in terms of, my enjoyment. I really like both of these movies. But second place, it's got to go to Hostel Part 2. I really, really like this movie. I love the expansion towards the Elite Hunting Club. I think that is, my favorite thing about this movie. I love just the little bits of world building, the extra world building that we get. I really like the protagonists in this film. They're more likable, and it feels even more it really adds it being even more horrific when they get tortured, especially Lorna's scene, because in this film, you really don't want them to die because it's these people literally have done nothing wrong, which really adds to the horror. And then, it's on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we, get some darkly comedic bits in this movie, and, it's having a bit of fun with itself. And it is infectious. While I didn't notice it, during the watch, within hindsight, you can definitely feel that within the film, that the people are having fun making this movie, and it really does show, honestly, and it's a great time. And yeah, it could have easily been a carbon copy of the original, but it isn't. It's doing its own. It's keeping to. It's doing what the first one did well and expanding upon it, and expanding upon it, doing its own thing, And yeah, Hostel 2. Banger sequel, honestly. I cannot believe I wrote this film off as shit when I was a kid. I'm so sorry.
Damn, having a stern talking to with Lil Kane.
Anyways, number 1, Hostel 1. One, it is a bit of bias because, I really liked this as a kid, and this was the one that was the most fresh in my mind because I watched this last year just on a whim and fucking love it. And I get so much out of this. I love the the 2005 time capsule that this movie represents. I love how the movie tests your threshold for if you how much you hate these characters, but do you really want to see them get tortured? And the film reveling in it, be we're giving you what you wanted. I love just the how gritty and gross this movie makes you feel and how it looks. Oh my lord, I cannot get enough of it. I love just I just love every now and again I'll just think about this movie and just start thinking about the questions that it's asking about the connections between this the sex trade and the elite hunting club, human torture trafficking trade, and where's the line between pleasure and the pleasure and fucking pain begin and end, blah 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 blah. It's just good, man. It's just a great fucking horror movie, honestly, man. I love it, honestly. And yeah, that's my list, boys. You can disagree with me and argue as to why Hostel Part 3 is better, but I won't have it. I won't hear it.
Good, simple ranking, clean, unlike this franchise.
I was literally gonna say the same thing. You beat me fucking.
Yeah, I know. I got you there. Well, I think just to speed it along, I'll jump straight into mine, which is similar to yours. I was actually quite surprised that we didn't have the same ranking. Spoiler alert: we've revealed to each other that what our ranking was pre-recording, because I was so sure that it was going to be the same and we could just rank it together. But there's
guys, we're hacks.
Actually, point of differentiation with my favorite film being Hostel Part 3. Now,
I knew it.
Is that okay? So, starting from the bottom of the barrel, the number 3 location is Hostel Part 3, without a doubt, easily the worst. Don't even know if I have to say much more about it. Instead of the wasted potential, it is on pretty much every technical level, it has taken a back step. It is there's not a single character that you actually enjoy spending time with in the film. The torture scenes, there's nothing satisfying about them. There's nothing interesting about them. It is all completely tamed and a complete misdirection in the franchise.
It's pretty much has been neutered, like similar to Stewart.
Well, yeah, perfect. It has been castrated like Stewart has. But my number 2 spot actually goes to the original Hostel film, because
very interesting.
As much as I do really enjoy it, and actually no, I don't even know if that's the right word. I don't think I did really enjoy it at the time. It made me feel filthy. It made me feel gross. But that's a very effective horror film in my eyes, and I have really enjoyed reflecting on it and reflecting on the depth of the film as well. I feel like so much to chew onto there. Some characters that are quite hateable, but also just like ignorant young dudes that don't really they don't know what they're doing yet, and they're as vulnerable as anyone else, really. And you really feel that as the movie goes on. The dinginess and the world that is created in this, a lot to admire there. But gonna right away move on to my number 1 pick, which is Hostel Part 2. I think that what the sequel gets a lot better than this one is that I think it nails the balance of the tone of being dingy and disgusting, as well as having sort of fun with its like presence in the horror genre, as well as like touches on all the same themes as the original, but expands, and then also gives a bit of a feminist lens there to it, where we do have this all-female like lead cast that have more depth in their perspective that they add to the entire franchise, and it's refreshing. And you do see how threatening it can be just being women traveling in this open sort of unknown world, and then the Hostel franchise takes that idea and then puts it to a whole new extreme. And there's things to laugh at, there's things to cry at, and there's things to wince at like throughout from beginning to end. So Hostel Part 2, in my opinion, the best film in the franchise. I want to hear, Kane, let's have a mini little debate about this now. What do you think Hostel 1 does better that is deserving of it being the better film out of the two?
I think for me personally, when it comes to Hostel Part 1, is that while I do love the the mixture of the bleak, brutalist horror and terror of Hostel Part 2 mixed with the little bits of dark comedy here and there, I think for me, when I go into a Hostel movie, I want to be grossed out and I want to just feel disgusting watching it. And I do feel that while watching Part 2. I feel Part 1, though, gives me more of what I'm looking for when I'm going into a Hostel movie, is that sense of unease, that sense of disgust, and just proper filthiness. Basically, like
proper filthiness.
Oh yeah, fuck. That was completely unintentional shit.
Oh, really?
It was. No, I was literally thinking about that quote earlier when you were talking about Hostel, and then forgot about it. It just came out so naturally. Shit. But for real though, honestly, for me is that I think I just really love the gritty, almost snuff film like aspect of Hostel Part 1, and also the questions that this first film asks, where they introduce us to these characters that are made for you to hate, and then posing the question of, you hate them this much. Okay, we're going to give you what you want and show them being, exposed to these brutal forms of torture and murder. Do you, the audience, do you guys still want this? Like, what does that say about you guys if you enjoy this? Like, I think that is just a really genius thing for a horror movie to do, especially like a horror movie that like a lot of people would just write off as just, schlocky torture porn. I think that is a great, that is a great thing to like, to have for an audience member to like really think about, especially like a horror fan to really think about that, would be so used to just watching horror movies and just, waiting for characters to just meet their comeuppance and just die, without a care in the world, without any like ethical debate, whether it be with a fellow viewer or just internally, I love that this is a horror film that poses that question, like, especially like during the mid 2000s era of just trash TV, trash horror, all that kind of shit. Like I think it's ingenious. I love it, honestly. That is, I love it. I love it for that, honestly. And number 2 obviously does pose a lot of interesting questions and stuff to chew on. I think for me personally, I just got a lot out of part 1 that I still find myself thinking about to this day,
I think excellently put, man. I think there's a very strong case to be made for either, honestly.
Oh yeah, no, completely. I'm not it did catch me by surprise with you talking about saying Hostel 2 is your favorite. Caught me by surprise, admittedly, but like at the same time, I'm not really in like a disagreeing. I'm not really like disagreeing with you. Like I'm very much like, okay, that's interesting. Why is that? And why is that, Rhys?
So what I think Hostel Part 2 has to offer more than the first one is I think that it identifies the shortcomings of the initial film, and it pretty much says I think that it acknowledges the lack of a female perspective in the film and the dudiness of the entire movie, and it is like the first movie wouldn't pass the Bechdel test. It wouldn't at all.
No.
And I think it acknowledges that and is like, there's a whole angle here to explore that we did not even open in the first film. And then it continues to explore all the things that the first movie touched on, and then introduces this female perspective to it, that only expands and doesn't diminish any other layer. So that's my main sort of contention there, as well as I think that probably the biggest point of differentiation between which one you prefer out of these two films, right, would be what you are looking to expect and what you're looking to consume from this franchise, right? If you are looking for something that is harsher and a way harder pill to swallow, it is the first film. But if you're looking for something that is a bit more fun and maybe a little bit more sort of definite about what it's trying to say and trying to do, then maybe the second one. The second one feels maybe like an essay that is more complete and has a sort of an ending that ties back in with every single paragraph of the essay. The conclusion is very, very clean and exact. But also, like, I do love, and I think there is very much a place for there to be stories and narratives like in the first Hostel movie, for an essay to ask questions and not have answers to those questions to get you to investigate inside yourself. I think that in this particular circumstance, I prefer the explicit contention that Hostel Part 2 has. But yeah, I think that
That's a very fair point, Rhys.
Thank you.
Very fair point. I'd shake your hand right now if we weren't a state away.
Virtually shaking hands as we are through the phone call.
God bless. Good talk. Good debate, sir.
Yeah,
good
tipping
debate.
my hat off to you, good sir. But the going through other rankings of how other people will place these films up against each other is like, it is very clearly that far, far below the depths of these two first films. Part 3 is the worst and the least favorite of the majority.
I would love to meet a person that says Part 3 is their favorite. I would fucking love to meet them.
It would be great to have. I want that argument to be said of what they could possibly say.
Oh my lord. Oh, it'd just be so fascinating just to listen to someone like just explain. Like it'd just be so fascinating. Like I would just want to sit there for hours, just be like, why do you say this about Part 3 and who hurt you?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Was this the only movie that you had in your DVD collection for years and then just got like a weird sort of like a weird love relationship with this tormentor? Sort of like a Stockholm Syndrome situation.
Oh my god.
The most rankings that I've found online from different people and sources are pretty much interchangeably like going between Hostel Part 1 and 2 as their favorite. It is, and I think what's fun there is that I don't think that there is then a definitive best one then. I think that what that says is that they're both on the same level, and it is just personal preference what you're looking for in a film in this franchise between the two.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too, yeah.
So there we have it. That is our ranking. And what a fun marathon experience it was. Totally recommend. As there is enough variation, even even though the third one is not very good, I actually didn't. It was weirdly refreshing to get a shit movie after two pretty well put together movies, and
yeah, I do gotta agree with you on that. Yeah, it is kind of like a nice little dessert to get a nice piece of shit movie after like two bangers.
If you're looking for a complete torture porn marathon, it's a lot easier to handle than watching all 10 Saw movies in a row.
Exactly. Plus, the story's not as convoluted as well, so, somewhat easier to follow than, the convoluted, all over the place narrative of the Saw movies. Oh, God forbid we ever cover the Saw films. Jesus Christ, that's gonna be a hell of a task. My God.
One day, I think it will happen.
Oh. I very much look forward to it one day. Hell yes.
But I want to in this overview, because there's not really much subsequent media here and there for the Hostel franchise.
No, unlike Saw, they did not make a Hostel video game.
Yeah, exactly. 2 Saw video games exist.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Oh, yes, my bad.
What I do want to touch on, though, a little bit is this sort of Eli Roth shallow dive that Kane and I have sort of gone on from this franchise, because it's opened this box to explore this pretty interesting filmmaker that's there, I think. I saw the other day, Kane, that you, as well as I, watched Cabin Fever for the first time.
Oh, actually, it's not. Actually, I've seen Cabin Fever before.
Oh, okay. Well, what did you think of it?
Oh, well, the first time I watched it was like 2020. I remember really enjoying it, and then rewatching it this week, I fucking loved it. I had such a great time with it, my God.
Such a good, like, campy horror film, right? Like,
it's so fucking fun. Oh my, it's so funny too, my God.
Great balance of self-awareness and also being pretty like freaky and creepy, and really, like, I feel like it is almost essential for us to watch Cabin Fever in marathoning and getting an understanding of the Hostel films, because if it wasn't for Cabin Fever, then we wouldn't be recording this franchise at all, because they wouldn't exist.
Oh, yeah, completely.
Because, like, I feel like you would be across this, right? So Cabin Fever is Eli Roth's first feature film. And Tarantino watched this and said, this is the future of horror movies. And it makes so much sense that he would think something like that about this, right? Because it is quite schlocky. It's very, very inspired by exploitation cinema, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, but then also loves and embraces the gore. And then from that, Tarantino asked Eli Roth to come over to his house one day so they can meet and sort of get to know each other. And they really, really enjoyed each other's company, became great friends, and then that led to Tarantino essentially funding Hostel getting made in the first place.
That's beautiful, really. That's beautiful.
Very, very cool. I love that there's a lot of stories of that, of like, it really shows that Tarantino is like a big appreciator and like like really stands behind cinema and pushing it forward. That like he'll see something that he likes and he's like, I want to help you keep on doing the thing that you're doing to push this format that I love.
Almost a year removed, we're still giving props to Tarantino. God bless that. The man's just a legend.
Exactly. And have you seen any other Eli Roth films?
I'm trying to think, actually. I don't know. Like, what else has he directed post Hostel? Because he did last year's Thanksgiving, right?
Yes, he did.
Okay, yes. I don't, like, yeah, what else has he directed? Because I don't really know, apart from The Green Inferno, which I have not seen.
It's not a crazy amount of movies, actually, this guy. He's done the film Knock Knock with Keanu Reeves.
I've heard of that movie. I've heard it's really fucking bad. Oh my god.
It looks terrible. It does not look good. He's done Death Wish, which is a remake of a film of an action film from the 70s with Bruce Willis in it.
What the remake of not Charles Bronson fucking Charles Bronson? Charles Bronson. Yeah, the actor. Yeah. Or the criminal. I don't fucking know.
I don't know much about this original. I just know that.
Well, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, like it was like a remake of like some like 70s action movie. Yeah, I've heard of it. I'm vaguely familiar with it, like the remake.
And then Eli Roth's only foray into family cinema with The House with a Clock in Its Walls.
That's the. Oh my fucking god. Okay. Right, yeah, because I was actually thinking about that movie, because I remember years ago thinking, like, reading Eli Roth directed it, and I'm like, huh? The same Eli Roth? What the fuck? And then, oh my fucking god, why did I not think about that? Holy shit, because I remember I was actually going to go watch that movie once on a date years ago, but we never ended up doing it.
Oh, no.
And I know, how bizarre. I'm actually very curious to watch this movie now, because isn't Jack Black in the movie?
Jack Black is in the movie. It looks... and it came out around the same time as Goosebumps, so it's like Jack Black leading in a kooky, spooky kids movie. Kooky, spooky kids movie.
That just sounds like a great kids horror movie title on its own.
Yeah.
But now you've got me curious to watch this movie now. My goodness,
I am so curious. I looked it up, and it's not on any streaming service, so you would have to pay for it. And I don't know if I don't know if I'm that keen.
Yeah, I'm not that keen. Maybe, like, I don't know, maybe I'll pirate it or something like that. I'm sorry, maybe I'll do some research for the movie, quote unquote. But yeah, very curious. Me, a almost 24-year-old man watching a kid's movie. Yes, I think that sounds like a great way to spend my time.
Thanksgiving is brilliant, by the way. I totally recommend watching it. Very much has a similar sort of feel to like the campiness and kookiness of like Cabin Fever sort of thing.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that'll be good, because I've got a real craving for like that general vibe that Cabin Fever provided in the movie, because oh my god, I love it. Also, I'll say this as well about Cabin Fever, is that as disgusting and fucked as Hostel is, I found myself more disgusted by watching Cabin Fever, not gonna lie. Just the flesh-eating disease that just the makeup effects on everyone when they're all falling apart. I don't know, there's just something about it that was just so much more grotesque, you know?
Oh, they did a fantastic job with that, right? Like, they really, really did.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh, even some of the more like subtle makeup effects, like the main characters, I think her name is Karen, like the main character's love interest in the movie, when like she starts having like when she starts like bleed, like her skin starts bleeding, and she's got like red, like just like melty skin and blood all over her thighs, like there's the final shot of her with like her like face, her like skull pretty much showing, and that's grotesque. But like just the scenes of like her like legs just basically just like red and all bubbly and fleshy and bloody, that shit just stuck with me. Like I'm like, oh my fucking lord, that is horrific. My God, love it. Love that fucking movie. My God. And all I gotta say is thank you, Rhys, for giving me the urge to watch it.
Yep, no worries, man. I thought that I hated Cabin Fever for a very, very long time. I only got about 20 minutes through it first time that I attempted it. And then I realized that I had watched the remake, or like had put on the remake. And I was like, why? Oh my God. And I'm like, why do people like this so much? I don't get this. And then I turned it off. And the reason that I thought that it was like, that I was watching the real one is because it's like produced by Eli Roth. And I was like, oh, okay. Right. Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's the right one.
You've fallen for that old trick. Yes, okay. I see.
And I'm so glad that I revisited it and revisited the actual film. The actual one. Because it's fantastic.
I'm very curious now because like I know that there's like they made two sequels to Cabin Fever. I had no idea that there was a remake. I'm very curious to watch these other movies now if they're on any streaming service. I'm very curious, not gonna lie. They're probably shit, but still very curious.
I think they're all on Amazon, so worth looking into. But
might have to.
So I'm sort of glad that you haven't looked too much into Eli Roth's filmography because I have a little game that I would like to play with you today, Kane. I want to play a Marathon Me edition of Two Truths and a Lie about Eli Roth's filmography. How do you feel today, Kane, about this?
Oh, feeling excellent, feeling fucking hyped up. I cannot wait to get the answer wrong and learn something.
Okay,
very excited to learn.
Perfect. So for all of the uninitiated people here, Two Truths and a Lie is 3 scenarios or options are brought up about a particular topic. 2 of them true, 1 of them a lie. And today it is Two Truths and a Lie, Eli Roth's filmography. So I'm going to give you 3 different things that Eli Roth has done or has not done. 2 of them real, 1 of them not. Okay, first one. An Eli Roth directed VR horror experience starring Vanessa Hudgens. That is number 1. Number 2.
Okay.
An ultra-violent robot chicken-style stop-motion animation called Rotten Fruit.
Right, okay.
Or number 3, an Eli Roth-directed environmental documentary about sharks produced by Leonardo DiCaprio. Two truths and a lie. Which one is it?
Alright. Okay, so I can't phone a friend right now since I'm on the phone with a friend and he's the host.
And I would know, and I know the answer, so it's a bit,
Yeah, that's going to create some conflict of interest. Right. Okay, so there's the VR game, the robot chicken movie, and then shark documentary. Okay, let me think. I'm going to say that the lie is the VR game.
Very, very good guess, Kane, but I'm sorry, I set you up for failure. All 3 of them are true.
Fuck, right, actually.
They are actually true.
Jesus,
Eli Roth,
fucking crazy. He did a documentary?
He has done a documentary about sharks and about their importance in the environment and for, like, global warming and things. Produced by Leonardo DiCaprio, and it's one of those. And it's one of those documentaries where like Eli Roth is like in front of the camera for all of it. Like it's not like a behind the camera talking heads sort of thing. It's like Eli Roth talking to the camera, being like, "We've got to save these sharks," and he like goes and interviews like shark poachers on the open sea and stuff like that.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like he was just interviewing sharks and their thoughts and feelings on this.
What do you think about this?
He interviews fucking Bruce from Finding Nemo. He's like, how do you feel about this? Oh, well, I feel really fucking shit about this, mate. Really fucking peeved, cunt.
Exactly. I actually watched the VR horror experience starring Vanessa Hudgens. It was produced in, like, I think 2022 for Meta, for, like, their, like, metaverse sort of thing. It's awful. It's actually horrendous, and it has no stylistic motivation at all. Really,
do most VR games have any like stylistic motivation rather than just things popping out of the camera. Oh,
Well,
look at this, how immersive.
I thought with Eli Roth directing it, maybe it would, right? But no, it is legitimately just a collection of surface level horror tropes in a game.
That's a shame.
Yeah, well, not even a game. It's like a VR experience. Like it just happens in front of you and you look around. Right. And the robot and Rotten Fruit, the robot chicken style thing, so not up my alley. I watched a couple of episodes and it's just like,
it's a show. I thought it was a movie.
Yeah, it's a show. Well, actually,
okay.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And yeah, did not get to watch the documentary though because again would have to pay for it and maybe for another day.
I guess. Okay. So I guess you just want sharks to die. Then is that it?
Yeah. Exactly. What has a shark ever done for me, bro?
Yeah, that's fucking right, man. I'm on the same boat. Fuck them sharks, boy. I want to eat that shark fin soup. Fuck them.
So speaking of Eli Roth as well, he's a busy man. He only last year came out with Thanksgiving. And he has upcoming projects as well coming up with Thanksgiving 2 already on the cards, as well as him being the director of the Borderlands movie.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, that looks awful, that movie. That looks fucking terrible.
I'm sort of interested though with him being behind it.
Yeah, I mean, now that you mention Eli Roth, now I've got like a bit of a morbid curiosity, but like, did anyone ask for... Look, I've never played Borderlands, so I can't really speak, but like, because didn't that game come out like, 2009? Like, who's asking for a Borderlands movie?
Yeah, it's a bit weird, but, you know, there's all this, like, video game-inspired TV shows and movies at the moment that are doing quite well. So it feels like that they're, like, striking when the iron's hot in that respect, and just...
I guess, yeah, fair enough, but, like, of all things, like, Five Nights at Freddy's, that makes sense. Fallout, yeah, even that makes sense, but, like, Borderlands...
And recently on the press junket for the Thanksgiving film, Eli Roth did say that he does want to revisit the franchise, saying there is more to be done with the IP, which would be so great to see.
Oh my god, I was literally going to ask earlier, I was like, is there any talks of a new Hostel movie? Oh my god, I'll be so happy if we get a new one. And to watch it in theaters, maybe together... Probably not, but, you know, that'd be a nice thought. Like, oh, it'd be so fucking cool.
Well, it's a long way off, so there's...
That is true.
Who knows where I will be?
You might be in Slovakia when the new film comes out. Who knows?
I might be in Slovakia. That would be perfect. That would be the place to watch the... That would be terrifying, actually.
If it were to come out when you're on your Euro trip, you have to make a trip to Slovakia and go find some Slovakian theater to go watch it in, just to really like get that experience.
That would be brilliant. It is meant to be if that's the case.
Oh my god, yes, fuck yeah. If I have money to burn, I will fucking fly out to Slovakia just to watch the movie.
If you win the lottery, then you're there. You're there with me.
Exactly.
So the infamy of this franchise definitely sets it up to be a lot more intense than it actually was, and I thought so much like it set it up to be so much more shallow than it actually was as well. So I was so pleasantly surprised by this, man. I could not believe it, honestly.
Oh my god, yeah, same here. I already knew that I loved the first movie, but like going in to rewatch it in like a more, you know, not just in a casual way, but like, you know, actually like, you know, like sitting there and like, you know, thinking about the movie and like actually like really like sinking my teeth into it, felt like and like also with the second movie just was such a rich and rewarding experience that like, god, I fucking loved it. And then also it helped that, you know, got to actually marathon it with you in person, which was like, just made it even better.
These were made to be marathoned with your friends in person, right? By yourself.
Oh my god, yes.
By yourself, it would not hit the same places than it did communally.
Oh no.
And it is something quite terrifying, I thought. Like the thematic bridging of all of this together, it really, for me, highlighted this terrifying world that, in essence, it explores this class divide that is so deep that it breaks down the whole concept of empathy for another human being, where the people below you stop becoming humans and they just become objects for your use. And And this is terrifying because when a class divide does become so big, this can become really, really real. And like, we spoke about this when watching it together and only really touched on it in the episodes, but like the whole concept of things like Epstein Island being a real thing that exists with awful things happening on there that the uber rich are engaging with because they have this invincibility with money and wealth. That it is a real thing that exists, and that is just what has been exposed and what we know of. The fear of all these particular societies and groups that are of the uber mega rich doing whatever they possibly want just because they have no limitations anymore because of their excessive wealth is really terrifying. The unknown that is there, that who knows if there is an elite hunting club that exists. And don't forget to check out our Facebook page at MarathonMeOfficial, all one word, and our Instagram, MarathonMe_official, to keep up to date on the podcast. And hey, if you want to get into contact with us, email us at marathonmepodc, yes, the letter C, @gmail.com. Like a podcast without the ask.